Hello, my friends. Nice to be with you again. And we've got some questions, a lot of good questions that people send in, and let's get going on it here. Barbara Pattonade says, I wanted to add an idea for you to consider in human and earth transition. First, this will take many years unless there's divine intervention and things change instantly. It may take, you know, who knows? It may take a long time, but my sense is that this is not going to take a long time. And the reason why is because, for a number of reasons, is that if you look at major changes in history in the past and you look at the dynamics of the whole thing, the transitions all get shorter and shorter and shorter. Each succeeding one gets about 1/10 of the size of the preceding one. That is also happens in terms of amplitude too, in terms of the size of the change. And so and so uh, and you can just see it, by the way, reflected in terms of the market assimilation of new products and stuff. And you've got things like iPhones and even now more software kind of products that can get millions of users in a matter of minutes, literally, in some cases. Never before in history have you had that kind of dynamic and that kind of metabolism of the underlying system. And so my sense of, and that is also encouraged by sensing the urgency of the old world to try to hang on and the technocracy to try to control all of this and so on, and changes that you see and potential changes in terms of climate and the sun and whatever. All of this is pointing toward some point between 2027 and 2030 where there is a dramatic kind of event that catalyzes a huge kind of change that ultimately results in a new world. And so I don't think this is a long-term evolutionary thing. There are others who think that it is, and that there's waves of energy coming out of the center of the galaxy, and each time a wave comes over, it changes who people, and they see the world differently, and then the next wave comes, and then they rise a little higher. Well, maybe, but it hasn't worked yet. And I think that you're getting certainly a growing number of people who are thinking new and coming to a higher level of consciousness and such. And Lord knows that you could hit a critical mass there and the whole system could flip. But again, it's a rather rapid thing. And so I don't think it's going to be. But anyway, my idea is that you need to be able to educate people from the point of view of all not even knowing that they are getting an education. This is an interesting idea that says that, and she builds out a whole kind of series of suggestions about how you would build a process in an environment, including agriculture and food and other such things, where it's all around community. And I really think that that's important, and that you just can't get from here to there without community, without like-minded people, and you get together and you encourage each other and you trade and you barter and you do other kinds of things and you support each other to get to where we're going. But I also think if there seems to be an underlying thread to this that almost suggests that we have this obligation that we have to get all of these people in the world who don't understand and are not sensitive or interested in the kind of things that we're interested in, and that somehow it's our responsibility or obligation to try to find a way to get them all educated, even though they don't think they're getting educated. And I don't believe that. I think that that there are folks who are ready now, who have come to this lifetime and have, I don't know how it worked for sure, but you can certainly build kind of logical model. It says that there are multiple incarnations and you learn each time. And if you've lived long enough and enough of these things, then you get to the point where you see yourself and you see the world in quite different ways than most of the people on this planet. And everyone will get to there in the end, but everybody isn't there quite yet. And, my strong kind of sense and perspective is that our responsibility is to ourselves and not to everyone else. I do not have the responsibility of, evangelizing all of the other people that are in my sphere of influence. Everybody gets a chance to do this by themselves. I grew up in an environment where evangelization was the centerpiece of this whole thing, and that we thought that the group that I was associated with thought that they had the answer to everything and everybody else was going to hell. And that our obligation was to convince all these other people. I've walked away from that quite some time ago. And I really believe that we all have this extraordinary kind of consciousness and we have these capabilities and we all have this opportunity ourselves, and that in the end, we're responsible for ourselves, which is not to say that there isn't anything that we shouldn't have compassion and charity and help, forgiveness and love and all of these other kinds of things. But that's not. I've watched some of my friends burn up their lives literally and psychologically, physically, and everything because they thought that their job was to save a whole bunch of other people rather than take care of themselves, and they didn't take care of themselves. And so I think that this is very much like kind of the underlying principles of a business. If you don't have the business going, I mean, I've been involved in a bunch of nonprofits, and you can start out a nonprofit and have all these big ideas about what you're going to do to help a whole lot of people. But I'm telling you that if you don't run the business, and if the business isn't alive, it doesn't make any difference how good your ideas are. You will not be able to help anybody if you don't take care of the basic business and be able to pay your people and not drive yourself crazy wondering how you were going to, meet the payroll this next weekend. I can tell you that from a lot of experience. And so we really need to understand that I've come to the conclusion that I have no idea about how other people think. I mean, you think that you have some kind of notion about what's going on in their head, but it's harder for me to try and make sense out of what shows up in my brain rather to have the kind of a hubris to think that why other people think and what they do and why they do it and what is right for them to do, and it's not. I don't think so. I think everybody's at one level, everybody's doing what they think is right. They come from different kind of points of view and perspectives, experiences, environments, and I've watched people who were grown up in places that didn't have the opportunities that I had, that just have never seen anyone that was ever successful or ever held a job and has no idea about how that works or how they do. And I am not, some people feel an obligation and a responsibility and a life purposes for that matter to play in that kind of space. And I applaud that. But that's not me. And and what I'm saying is that might be their purpose in life and what they're doing. And, and they can work both of those things at the same time, but I do not. What I try to do is raise a flag, and I just say, find those people who resonate and they say, oh, I see that. And so they come and and I try to do my best at in that kind of space, but I feel no obligation for anyone else because I have no idea what they're working their way through and what they're supposed to learn or other such things. Well, that's all the questions that we got right now, and so thank you very much for sending them along. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to kind of think about these things, and encourage you to send some more. We try to do this about every month, and uh, you know, there are no constraints. You can ask me anything. I may not answer them, but ask me anything that you would like. And so I wish you well. And Greg Braden's going to be with us at Transition Talks here in 10 days, 23rd or is it the 26th? It's Saturday of August. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. Dr. Todd Obakaitis, who's a wonderful Nobel Prize level guy, who's figured out how to do life extension. Like you do a little bit of stem cell work and your life is extended for 3 years, and you come back again and it'll go 3 years longer, and so on. And they've proven this scientifically. He's going to be with us in September. And Ed Edwards is going to be with us in October. Ed Edwards is this marvelous guy who's being studied by Harvard and Yale and University of Virginia, UVA, and the Monroe Institute, and others who had this amazing kind of capability to change physical reality with his mind, and to be able to do all kinds of healing and other such things. Been a subject of Ancient Aliens and other kind of programs on TV. But anyway, we've got a wonderful lineup, and so check it out on transitiontalks.org, and come and be with us here in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. We're just 100 miles from Washington and Baltimore, and or you can do it on the live stream, so it's great. And if you like all of this and you find it helpful, then please subscribe or share this with your friends, or pass it along in such a way that we can get you information and give you alerts about what's upcoming, so we can continue this conversation. So thanks so much. Take care.